I'm 85. If you're in your 60s, watch this. Advice from old people. At 85, I've lived long enough to understand what truly makes life meaningful. If you're in your 60s, you may feel like you're stepping into the later chapters of life. But let me tell you, this is not the end. This is the time when you have the wisdom, freedom, and perspective to make every day count. A meaningful life doesn't just happen. It's built on habits that keep your mind sharp, your heart full, and your soul at peace. Here are 7 habits that I've seen in the happiest and most fulfilled older adults, the ones who wake up with purpose and go to bed with gratitude. 1. Keep moving, because life is motion. They say, if you rest, you rust. And after 85 years of living, I can tell you that those words couldn't be more true. I've seen people in their 60s who stopped moving, not because they couldn't, but because they thought it no longer mattered. They slowed down, sat more, walked less, and before long, they lost the strength and energy that once carried them through life. But I've also seen people who refused to let age dictate their movement. They wake up each morning and stretch their limbs, take a walk, dance to an old song playing on the radio, or tend to their garden with care. They know that motion isn't just about keeping the body strong, it's about reminding themselves that they are still here, still part of this world, still capable of feeling, exploring, and experiencing. Movement is not just physical. It's emotional and spiritual too. It's the simple act of engaging with life rather than retreating from it. When you move, you tell yourself, I am alive. And that is a powerful message to send to your body, mind, and soul. I've seen too many people fear movement because they're afraid of falling, of aching joints, of the stiffness that comes with age. But the irony is that avoiding movement only makes those fears come true. The more you move, the more your body adapts, strengthens, and supports you. The less you move, the more fragile you become. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to run marathons or lift heavy weights. Just find a rhythm that works for you. Walk a little further than you did yesterday. Stretch your arms toward the sky when you wake up. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Dance in your kitchen while making breakfast. Move because you can, because every step, every stretch, every beat of motion is a way of saying, I am still writing my story. The happiest and most fulfilled people I know don't just exist. They participate in their lives. They move with purpose, with intention, with the understanding that as long as they keep going, they are not done yet. So whatever you do, don't stop. Keep moving. Keep living. 2. Nurture relationships. Loneliness is the silent killer. At 85, I have learned that the greatest joys in life don't come from achievements, money, or possessions. They come from people. The faces that light up when you walk into a room, the hands that reach for yours in times of sorrow, the voices that call your name with warmth and familiarity. These are the things that make life rich. And yet, I've also seen too many people let relationships fade as they grow older, assuming that distance, time, or pride are too great to bridge. But nothing erodes the spirit faster than loneliness. Loneliness does not come all at once. It creeps in quietly. It starts when you stop making phone calls because you assume others are too busy. It deepens when you decline invitations, thinking you won't fit in. It settles in when you let old misunderstandings linger, too proud or too hurt to reach out. And before you know it, silence fills the spaces where laughter used to be. The world feels smaller, not because it has changed, but because you have allowed it to close in on you. But here's the truth. Connection is a choice. It is something you cultivate, something you nurture. The happiest people I know in their later years are not the ones who have perfect lives, but the ones who continue to invest in relationships. They pick up the phone and call an old friend just to hear their voice. They invite neighbors over for coffee, even if it's just for a short chat. They send messages, write letters, show up at family gatherings, and never let an opportunity for connection slip away. They don't wait for others to reach out, they take the first step. If you are in your 60s, you still have time to deepen your relationships. You still have time to heal old wounds, to rebuild connections that may have weakened over the years. You still have time to create new friendships, to welcome new people into your life. Don't let pride keep you from saying, I miss you, or I was wrong, or I'd love to see you again. Those simple words have the power to bring people back into your life, to replace loneliness with warmth and silence with laughter. You may think that the people you love already know how much you care, but life has taught me that we all need reminders. We all need to hear, you matter to me. We all need to feel seen, valued, and loved. Never assume that it's too late to reconnect. The moment you reach out, the weight of loneliness begins to lift. The moment you choose to nurture a relationship, you give yourself and someone else the gift of being truly present in each other's lives. At the end of it all, when you look back on your life, you won't remember the days you spent alone scrolling through news headlines or watching television in silence. You will remember the laughter shared over meals, the comfort of a friend's embrace, the conversations that stretched long into the night. You will remember the love, and that is what makes life worth living. 3. Keep learning. Curiosity keeps you young. There is a dangerous lie that too many people believe as they grow older, the idea that learning is for the young, that once you've retired, once your children have grown, once you've lived a full life, there is nothing more to explore, nothing new to discover. But I can tell you, after 85 years, that the moment you stop learning is the moment you start fading. It is not age that makes a person old. It is the decision to stop growing. I have met people in their 60s who speak as though life is already behind them, as though their best days of curiosity and discovery are gone. And yet, I have also met people in their 80s and 90s whose minds are alive with wonder, who read books about places they've never been, who learn new skills just for the joy of it, who wake up each morning with questions to ask rather than answers to repeat. These are the people who stay young, no matter how many candles are on their birthday cake. The world has never stopped changing, and neither should you. There are new stories waiting for you to hear, new ideas that can shift your perspective, new hobbies that can bring you joy. You don't have to enroll in a college course or master a foreign language, though you certainly can. You don't have to chase degrees or certifications. You simply have to be open. Open to picking up a book that challenges the way you think. Open to sitting with someone younger and asking them to explain the things they know. Open to trying, failing, and trying again. Open to learning not just from textbooks, but from life itself. I have seen too many people resist the new because it makes them uncomfortable. They say, I don't understand this technology, or I'm too old to learn something new. But that is just fear disguised as certainty. You are never too old to grow. You are never too old to let your mind stretch in ways it hasn't before. The happiest, most vibrant people I know in their later years are those who refuse to let their minds become stagnant. They don't fear the new, they embrace it. And learning is not just about intelligence, it is about keeping your spirit alive. When you learn, you engage with the world in a way that keeps you connected, that keeps you feeling like you still have something to contribute, because you do. Your mind is still capable of expansion, your heart is still capable of excitement, and your life is still capable of discovery. So, If you ever catch yourself saying, I don't need to learn anymore, stop and reconsider. There is still time to pick up a new instrument, to take a class at the local library, to listen to a lecture, to travel to a place you've never been, even if just through the pages of a book. There is still time to be curious. And as long as you remain curious, you will never truly grow old. 4. Find purpose. You're not done yet. There is a shift that happens when people reach their 60s. For decades, life has been structured around responsibilities, raising children, building careers, managing households. But then, one day, the routines that once gave life direction begin to fade. Children grow up and move away. Jobs end. The days suddenly feel longer, quieter. And in that silence, many people start to wonder, what now? What is my place in the world? I have seen too many people in their later years drift into a life of waiting, waiting for the next visit from family, waiting for the next doctor's appointment, waiting for time to pass. But purpose is not something that belongs only to the young. You are not done yet. There is still a reason for you to wake up each morning with a sense of meaning. The happiest people I know in their 70s, 80s, and beyond are the ones who refuse to let the world tell them they are no longer needed. They create their own purpose, no matter how big or small. Purpose does not have to be tied to work, success, or grand achievements. It can be found in the simplest acts: mentoring a younger person, volunteering at a community center, tending to a garden that brings beauty to the world. It can be in sharing the wisdom you have gathered, in helping someone find their way, in showing kindness to a stranger. Purpose is not about proving your worth. It is about knowing that every single day still holds value because you are in it. Some people believe that if they are no longer working, no longer raising a family, they have nothing left to offer. But I have lived long enough to know that your presence alone, your laughter, your kindness, your experience adds something irreplaceable to the lives of those around you. The world needs elders who are engaged, who pass down stories, who remind others of what truly matters. The greatest impact you will ever have may not be in something you do, but in the way you show up. Fully present, fully alive, fully willing to embrace the time you have. Do not let the world convince you that you are finished. You still have time to create, to inspire, to give, to grow. The measure of a meaningful life is not in the years behind you, but in how you choose to live the years ahead. If you are in your 60s, you are still in the midst of your story, and only you can decide what the next chapter will be. Find something that gives you joy, something that brings you peace, something that allows you to give a part of yourself to the world, and then do it with all your heart. Because as long as you have breath in your lungs and light in your eyes, you are not done yet. 5. Practice gratitude. Happiness comes from what you focus on. If there is one lesson I have learned in my 85 years, it is this. Happiness is not about what you have. It is about what you choose to see. I have known people who had everything: wealth, family, good health, but were never satisfied. And I have known others who had suffered great losses, who lived with pain or struggled through hardships, yet they carried a light within them that could not be dimmed. The difference between them was not circumstance, it was gratitude. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a way of seeing the world. It is the decision made every single day to focus on what remains instead of what is gone. To wake up and notice the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of birds outside your window, the simple pleasure of a well-brewed cup of coffee. It is the ability to look at your life, not with a list of regrets, not with a longing for what once was, but with an appreciation for what is. I have seen too many people in their later years weighed down by what they have lost. They dwell on the friends who have passed, the youth that is faded, the opportunities they didn't take. But regret is a thief, and nostalgia, if held too tightly, can become a prison. The happiest people I know in their 70s, 80s, and beyond are not the ones who have had perfect lives. They are the ones who have learned to say, yes, life has changed. Yes, I have lost things, but look at all I still have. Gratitude does not mean pretending that loss and hardship do not exist. It does not mean ignoring pain or forcing yourself to be cheerful. It means choosing, in the midst of everything, to find something, anything, to be thankful for, because there is always something. A smile from a stranger, a memory that still makes you laugh, the fact that you are here, still breathing, still able to witness another day. I have made it a habit to end each day by naming 3 things I am grateful for. Some days, it is easy. The love of my family, the kindness of a friend, the joy of a good conversation. Other days, when life feels heavy, it is harder. But even then, I can always find something. The softness of my bed, the quiet of the evening, the simple fact that I have made it through another day. And I have found that when you train yourself to see the good, it becomes easier to find. Life becomes less about what you lack and more about what you still have. If you are in your 60s, now is the time to let gratitude shape the years ahead. Not because life is perfect, but because it is still yours. The days you have left are gifts, and how you choose to see them will determine whether they feel full or empty. So wake up each morning and find something to appreciate. End each night with a moment of thanks. Not because everything is easy, but because even in the hardest moments, there is still beauty to be found. 6. Let go of regrets. The past is done, but the future is yours. If there is one weight that grows heavier with age, it is regret. I have lived long enough to see people in their later years burdened by the choices they did not make, the words they did not say, the opportunities that slipped through their fingers. I have also seen others who, despite mistakes and missteps, walk through life with a lightness, a peace that comes from knowing that the past cannot be changed, but the way we live now can. Regret is a quiet thief. It steals the present moment, replacing it with thoughts of what could have been. It replays old conversations, old decisions, old wounds, and convinces you that if only you had done something differently, life would have turned out better. But the truth is, no one reaches old age without making mistakes. No one gets through life without missing chances, hurting others, or wishing they had chosen a different path at some point. The difference between those who find peace and those who do not is the ability to let go. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean that the past did not happen or that it did not shape you. It means making a choice, a conscious, deliberate choice to stop carrying it forward, to recognize that the past is already written, but the present is still unfolding, to stop punishing yourself for the things you did not know at the time. You cannot go back and change a single moment, but you can decide that those moments will not control the rest of your life. I have seen people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond make peace with decades of regret by choosing forgiveness. Sometimes that forgiveness is for others, releasing anger toward those who hurt them, realizing that holding on to resentment does nothing but keep the wound open. But more often, the hardest forgiveness is the one we must give ourselves. The kindness we must extend to our own hearts, the grace to understand that we did the best we could with what we knew then. If you are in your 60s, now is the time to free yourself. Now is the time to stop looking back with sadness and start looking forward with purpose. The years ahead are still yours to live, not as a continuation of your regrets, but as a new chapter where you are lighter, where you allow yourself joy. Let go of the things you cannot change. Apologize if you need to. Make amends where you can. But then, move forward. Do not waste another day looking back. Life is still happening, right here, right now. And you deserve to be fully present for it, unburdened, unchained from the past, free to live the rest of your life with open hands and an open heart. 7. Laugh more, because joy is ageless. If there is one thing I have learned in 85 years, it is that life will always find a way to surprise you. Some days will be filled with joy, others with sorrow. There will be moments of beauty so profound they take your breath away, and moments of loss so heavy they make you wonder how you will move forward. Through it all, I have found that the people who live the fullest lives are not the ones who avoid hardship, but the ones who choose to find joy anyway. And one of the simplest, most powerful ways to do that is to laugh. Laughter is not just for the young. It does not belong only to childhood or to the carefree days of youth. It is for you at this very moment, no matter your age. It is proof that you are still engaged in life, that you still see light even when darkness tries to creep in. I have met people in their 60s and 70s who have let the weight of the years steal their laughter. They become serious, burdened, too focused on what is difficult to see what is still good. And I have met others, well into their 80s and 90s, who laugh as easily as they breathe, who find humor in the smallest moments, who tell stories with a twinkle in their eye, who remind the rest of us that laughter is not just an escape. It is a way of living. Do not let the world convince you that you must become somber as you age, that growing older means growing colder, more distant, more hardened by life. Laughter does not mean you ignore the realities of aging, of change, of loss. It means you acknowledge them, but you do not let them define you. It means you still see the absurdities of life, still find delight in the unexpected, still allow yourself to experience happiness in its simplest form. I have sat at tables where laughter flowed so freely that it echoed through the room, where old friends shared stories that have been told 100 times but never lost their magic. I have seen how laughter softens grief, how it brings people together, how it reminds us that even in the hardest moments, joy is still possible. If you are in your 60s, now is the time to let yourself laugh without hesitation. Surround yourself with people who bring lightness into your life. Tell the funny stories. Watch the movies that make you smile. Let yourself be silly. Let yourself be playful. Let yourself enjoy life in a way that makes your heart feel lighter. Because laughter is not just about humor, it is about resilience. It is about refusing to let time take away the spark of joy inside you. It is a reminder that no matter how many years pass, you are still here, still part of this world, still able to feel happiness in its purest form. So laugh, not just because it feels good, but because it keeps you young, it keeps you present, and it keeps you truly alive. Final thoughts. Your 60s are just the beginning. There is a quiet lie that lingers in the minds of many people as they grow older. The idea that life begins to shrink once you reach your 60s, that the most meaningful days have already passed, that the time ahead is meant for slowing down, for stepping back, for fading quietly into the background. But I have lived long enough to know that this is not true. If you are in your 60s, your story is far from over. In fact, in many ways, this is when it truly begins. Too many people approach aging with hesitation, as if it is something to be feared or resisted. They count the years behind them instead of looking at the time still ahead. They focus on what they have lost instead of what remains. And in doing so, They unknowingly rob themselves of the richness that life still has to offer. But I have seen another way. I have met people who step into their later years with a sense of purpose, with an openness to new experiences, with a quiet but unwavering belief that every single day still holds something worth waking up for. These are the people who do not simply exist in their later years, they truly live. Living fully at this stage of life is not about chasing youth. It is not about pretending that time has not passed or longing for the days that can never return. It is about embracing the present, about recognizing that the years you have lived have given you something invaluable: wisdom, resilience, perspective. You have walked through decades of experiences that have shaped you, that have made you who you are. You have learned what truly matters, what is worth your time and energy, what is worth holding on to, and what is better left behind. And now you have the opportunity to live in a way that reflects that understanding. Your 60s are not a time to retreat from life. They are a time to step into it more fully than ever before, to move with intention, to nurture the relationships that bring you joy, to continue learning, to find purpose, to practice gratitude, to let go of what no longer serves you, and to laugh freely and without hesitation. These habits are not just small practices, they are the foundation of a meaningful, fulfilling life. They are the difference between simply growing older and truly thriving. If you are in your 60s, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not done yet. You are still needed. Your presence, your wisdom, your kindness, these things matter more than you may realize. The world is still unfolding before you, offering new moments of beauty, new conversations to be had, new memories to be made. And the best part is, you get to decide how you will step into this chapter of your life. Will you choose to see these years as a time of limitation, or will you see them as a time of possibility? Will you allow fear, regret, or hesitation to hold you back? Or will you embrace each day with an open heart and a willingness to keep moving forward? The choice is yours. But I can tell you this: when you choose to live with purpose, when you remain curious, when you hold on to gratitude and surround yourself with love and laughter, aging is not something to be feared. It is something to be embraced. It is a privilege, and it is yours to make the most of. So wake up each morning with the understanding that life is still happening, that you are still part of it, and that there is still so much left to experience. Live these years not as an afterthought, but as a continuation of everything that has made you who you are. Because no matter how many birthdays you have celebrated, the most meaningful days of your life may still be ahead of you, and the time to live them is now. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.